Thanks so much for joining us. We have made it to this Thursday. I'm Brooke Hesh, joined by meteorologist Mallory Schnell. A much quieter day in the weather department.
Yes, not so much the traffic department.
Right.
Yeah, we'll get to that forecast in just a moment. I do want to bring your attention to one of our TriMark cameras. This is at 65 around Muhammad Ali. You can see the left two lanes are closed. Looks like they're doing some road repair there. So there are backups all the way over the bridge. If you do take 65 southbound from Indiana into Louisville, that is certainly something that you will notice for your lunchtime hour here. Weather-wise, it's chilly. The wind is blowing. You can also see that here from our U of L Health Midway University Hurstbourne camera, that flag whipping in the wind. Temperatures, they're in the mid to upper 20s and lower 30s, so they've actually dropped over the last several hours. Those feel like temperatures even colder than that, in the teens to right around that 20-degree mark. And temperatures really won't budge all too much as we head throughout the rest of the day today. Wind gusts, they are between about 15 to 25 miles per hour in some spots, and of course that will continue to give us that wind chill. But your max HG radar showing any of that moisture that we had yesterday off to our east. The airport has been reporting maybe a few flurries at times because we have these low clouds and gusty winds, but otherwise just expect mostly cloudy conditions. We'll try to get some breaks in the cloud cover as the afternoon and early evening progress. Clear skies on tap tonight, lighter winds as well. That's going to allow those temperatures to plummet down into the teens and lower 20s. So it's going to be a very cold start to your Valentine's Day. We trend mostly quiet tomorrow, but we do have a weather impact alert day, a flood watch in place for Saturday. I'll be breaking down these details coming up in our 7-day forecast.
And with more rain on the way and that melting snow, the Louisville National Weather Service is watching those water levels along the Ohio River very closely. Yesterday, the river was sitting at just over 17 feet. The flood line is 21, so we are still well below that, but however 5 feet higher than normal. The National Weather Service says during the winter months, there are fewer plants to soak up all that water, which can then contribute to higher flood risks.
Without those additional seasonal vegetation absorbers, creates a lot of runoff and a lot of flooding possibilities. As we get closer to that time frame, I would think we would at some point see a flood watch be issued.
MSD is also warning sewage overflows may occur due to these recent rains. So as a reminder, it's said to stay away from the Ohio, creeks, streams, and those drainage ditches because they may be contaminated for the next few days. And we are following some developing news here at noon. In the last hour, the Senate did just confirm Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as President Trump's health secretary. Today's vote was 52-48, primarily along party lines. The only Republican holdout, Senator Mitch McConnell, who's been a vocal critic of Kennedy's past anti-vaccine claims. He, just moments ago, confirmed in a quote, Mr. Kennedy failed to prove he is the best possible person to lead America's largest health agency. As he takes office, I sincerely hope Mr. Kennedy will choose not to sow further doubt and division, but to restore trust in our public health institutions. As health secretary, Kennedy will oversee $1.7 trillion in spending for vaccines, food safety, and health insurance programs for roughly half the country. Tomorrow is the last day for JCPS families to make a decision, gas money or a restored bus stop for your child. Families who lost transportation due to last year's bus cuts need to fill out an online form by the end of tomorrow. The district hopes to reinstate some of those routes by mid-March. Our Alex Dieter spoke with one parent who's choosing the bus.
Bus routes restored for nearly 3,000 magnet and traditional JCPS students.
I've been having to rely on my neighbor, our family, friends, whoever can get them to school.
A relief for parent Nicole Williams, who lost transportation for her daughter at DuPont Manual.
It broke my heart. I actually cried at the board meeting because I just can't imagine the effect that it was going to have on so many children, especially the children here in the West End.
Now the decision is in the family's hands. Parents who have lost transportation need to fill out an online form before midnight Friday and choose either to keep the $5 stipend or restore transportation.
But they cannot do both.
JCPS board member Gail Logan Strange.
We gave students choices, and when we took transportation away, that took people's choices away.
All students at Coleridge Taylor Elementary, Whitney Young Elementary, and Johnson Traditional Middle will have their buses back. While only students on free and reduced lunches at DuPont Manual, Butler Traditional, and Male High Schools will have their routes restored.
I'm grateful that, to have it back, but again, I think they still need to look at the other the other parents who don't get to have that.
The district says it needs about 80 more drivers to bring back all the bus routes.
I'd love to see all the routes restored.
The routes are expected to be restored by March 17th. Alex Dieterer, WHAS 11 on your side.
As of Wednesday, JCPS said 673 people have completed that process to sign up for a bus stop. We'll have the link to fill out that form on this story of our homepage. JCPS has confirmed 5 elementary school students ate THC gummies they thought were candy. It happened yesterday at Wellington Elementary off Kaufman Lane. Principal Brandy Carney sent a letter home to parents saying the students ate the gummies in one of the classrooms brought in by one of the students. They didn't appear to be fazed, but EMS was called and performed checkups along with the school nurse. Metro Corrections says an incarcerated man died at the jail overnight. LMDC officers said just after 11 o'clock Wednesday, they found 60-year-old Rodney Robinson unresponsive in one of the housing units and began life-saving measures until EMS arrived. He'd only been in custody for a day. LMDC Chief Jerry Collins said the department is investigating, as well as LMPD. The ACLU of Kentucky reports 18 inmates have died at LMDC in the last 3 years. A bill to combat copper theft is moving forward in Frankfort. Senate Bill 64 looks to modernize Kentucky's infrastructure security law while imposing harsher penalties on those who steal copper. Protections would cover facilities that support cable television, broadband services, utilities, and emergency response communication systems. Well, last month, a copper wire theft left those living in Louisville's Camp Taylor neighborhood without internet for days. And then last year, hundreds of highway lights were without power because the copper wiring was stolen.
Copper theft is no longer just a property crime. It's putting lives at risk. When individuals cut down utility lines, they cut off communities from emergency services and basic necessities. With digital communication now essential for public safety, education, and economic growth, we must ensure the reliability of our broadband and telecommunications networks.
That bill passed the Senate and now heads to the House for consideration. Kentucky exonerees are urging lawmakers to start paying people who have been wrongfully convicted. Right now, Kentucky is one of only 12 states that does not compensate those wrongfully imprisoned. House Bill 206, co-sponsored by Republican Representative Jason Nemes, would create the framework to start repaying these people. It proposes $65,000 a year of imprisonment plus tuition waivers and reentry services. Janetta Carr was wrongfully convicted at just 16 years old. She spent her teenage years behind bars and now is advocating for change.
I just find it appalling that as a person who had to go to prison and serve time and get treated like a criminal for a crime that I did not commit, that people that are actually guilty of crimes get more resources than we do.
Nemes also wants there to be programs to help people get back on their feet, whether that's helping find housing or going back to school. A similar bill failed to pass out of a House committee on budgets in 2024. A Kentucky lawmaker introducing legislation to expand reproductive health care access in the state. House Democratic Caucus Whip Lindsey Burke joined advocates from Planned Parenthood this week in Frankfort to explain 2 proposed bills, one of which will protect people who travel out of state for abortions. Kentucky currently has a near total abortion ban with very few exceptions. Last year, a Louisville woman filed a class action lawsuit challenging this. That suit is currently held up in court. And also today, the man responsible for a deadly shooting inside of an Okolona Roosters will be sentenced in the next hour. Carson Wrights was found guilty in December for that 2021 shooting. 2 men, Michael Miller and Bradley Cross, both died. The jury recommended 17 years in prison for Wrights, and he is scheduled to be sentenced at 1 o'clock.